Welcome to another Michigan football show. I'm Bryn Mickle here with our resident Wolverine football expert, Aaron McMahon, to look back at the season opening win over Florida and look ahead to the Cincinnati Bearcats. First down, should Michigan fans be worried about the quarterback position?
I'd say not right now. Spates, he has a track record. He put together a relatively good body of work last season. He had a hiccup against Florida. He had a couple hiccups last year. I think he gets back on track, especially with a team like Cincinnati coming in.
Do you think that we see more of John O'Corn going forward?
It depends. If Spate struggles, I think early out of the gate against Cincinnati, you may see O'Corn. That being said, and I expect Spate to get back on track, I would say no.
Second down, our reader question comes from Todd Shipper, who wants to know, was the play calling too vanilla on Saturday?
I'd say no, especially out of the gate there in the third quarter. You saw Wilton Spate kind of get back on track. He hit Sean McCune up the middle with a couple of passes. He hit Graham Perry down the field. At least early on, it was aggressive just to get them going offensively. So I'd say no. The second half play calling was not more vanilla.
Third down, what can you tell us about the Cincinnati Bearcats?
They're young. They're athletic. They're coming off a win over Austin Peay last week of the FCS. They went 4-8 last year. Obviously, they got a first-year head coach, Luke Fickell, so I think they're still trying to figure things out. And ironically, Fickell was a long-time assistant at Ohio State. He's pretty familiar with the University of Michigan. I think this is going to be his 20th game against Michigan, whether in the coaching or playing. So from a scouting report perspective, I think Cincinnati will be okay. That being said, I think they're lacking some talent at some of the skill positions, which I think is going to give them a hiccup.
Fourth down, prediction time.
I think Michigan wins this and wins it handily. I guess the score may depend on Michigan's offense. They have something to prove. Wilton Spate has to get back on track. I think the receivers are still young and still figuring themselves out. If all that goes right, I think Michigan can score 47, upwards of 50 points. I think their defense has proven that they can hang with the big boys like they showed against Florida on Saturday. Cincinnati doesn't nearly have that offensive firepower that Florida had the capability of showing. I could see Michigan running away with this, 47-7, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I agree. I see Michigan. This is really a statement game for them to show that the offense can put up points consistently. I see Michigan 55, Cincinnati 3. Well, thanks for joining us on another Michigan football show. Whoa! Don't forget to send us your reader questions and come back next week when we look ahead to Air Force.